If I were to tell you that a member of Donald Trump's cabinet, right, one of the secretaries, is under an internal investigation for allegedly having a secret stash of booze in their office in Washington, D.C., for taking subordinates to a strip club on an official government trip, and of course, for treating their entire staff like garbage, you would probably automatically assume that I am talking about Pete Hegseth, right? I mean, the booze, the strip clubs, the treating people like dirt, that sounds like Pete Hegseth, right? Well, believe it or not, the investigation is not into Pete Hegseth. It is, in fact, into Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer. Chavez-DeRemer, if that is how you pronounce it, my apologies if not, is now under an internal investigation after multiple complaints from her subordinates about all of the behavior I just mentioned and several other quite shocking allegations. More in just a moment, but first a quick word from today's video sponsor. Let me pause for a second because this actually helps you cut through a lot of the corporate media nonsense we deal with every day. One of the biggest problems with political media isn't just bias. It's that the same stories get framed completely differently depending on who owns the outlet and what narrative they're pushing. Ground News is a website and app that makes that really easy to see. It pulls together coverage of the same story from across the political spectrum and shows you visually who's covering it, how those outlets lean politically, how reliable they are, and who owns them. What I personally find most useful is being able to compare headlines side by side. You're looking at the same underlying facts, but you can immediately see how different outlets emphasize different narratives and how corporate incentives shape that coverage. Ground News also has a blind spot feed, which highlights important stories that are being underreported by one side of the political spectrum. A lot of issues never break through simply because they don't fit a preferred narrative, and this helps expose that. You can also personalize your feed by interest so you're not just fed whatever outrage story is trending that day. If you want to check it out, go to ground.news/Farron or scan my QR code. Using my link gets you 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan, and you can also gift a subscription directly through Ground News. I genuinely recommend it if you want to stay informed without being steered by corporate media framing. So in terms of the scandals we have seen so far in this first year of the Trump administration, this one honestly is kind of tame and a little hilarious, especially because it doesn't involve, accidentally leaking secret war plans multiple times like Hegseth has done, or of course, using your office to prosecute Donald Trump's political enemies or attempt to prosecute them because that keeps falling apart for Pam Bondi. But it is a scandal nevertheless, and it is pretty hilarious. So what happened is that Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer, according to the complaints against her that sparked this investigation, she allegedly first has a, quote, secret stash of booze in her office in Washington, D.C., so that she can have a little drink anytime she wants. 2, is horrible to her staff, and that is a very serious allegation. She treats them like dirt, she yells at them, screams at them, insults them, those kinds of things, according to this report here from the New York Post. 3, invents fake official government trips so that she can go and visit her family. Now, that would be an impeachable offense, by the way. If you are, in fact, making up trips, like billing taxpayers just because you want to go to Nevada to visit your family, which is absolutely something that has been alleged here, that is impeachable. That is a misuse of government funds. That does rise to the level of high crimes and/or misdemeanors, and that would warrant an impeachment. So that is a very serious one as well. Number 4, while on a so-called official trip to Portland, Oregon on April 18th, she decided, the end of the workday, you know what? We've all had a long day. We all want to relax and unwind. My secret stash of booze is all the way in DC. So, how about we all go to the strip club? And she took, according to the subordinates, the employees to a strip club. I'm guessing on the government's dime and on the government's time. Because if she just did that like on her own, paid for it herself, was, drove themselves there, non-government thing, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like if that's what you choose to do in your spare time, more power to you. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do have a problem with my tax dollars being used by a Trump administration official to take her employees out pardoning. And of course, there is number 5, which is the rumors that she was having an affair with a much younger staffer. She is 56 years old. It doesn't say how old the alleged staffer was, but it does say that he was substantially younger than she is. I say he, I don't know. It doesn't actually gender the individual at all. So those are the 5 big revelations from this investigation. And believe it or not, when Caroline Leavitt was asked about this by, the media, they're like, hey, what about this investigation? She didn't deny that the investigation was taking place. That, to me, is one of the most shocking parts about this story. She simply said, I have spoken to the president about that report regarding the secretary. Wow. I mean, she didn't fly off the handle. She wasn't like, you're a bunch of fake news a-holes. I hate you all and hope you die in a car accident, like she usually is with people asking her questions. She was just like, yeah, I've talked to Trump about that. Yeah. Okay, bye. So this could be serious. It could uncover some impeachable offenses, misuse of government funds, abuse of power, whatever. But this is something to keep an eye on from a member of Trump's cabinet who up to this point had remained relatively unscathed in terms of, all the horrible things everybody else has done. She's been quiet. She's been out of the press. But apparently those days have now come to an end. Scientists recently discovered a new evolutionary trait in puppies, and it's that they cannot grow up and reach their full potential unless you subscribe to this channel. Don't do it for me, folks. Do it for little Atlas and Judge here. Good boys. You do good. You want to say something? No? Okay.